Let's create an interactive 3D plot with Plotly. Welcome back to the Data Science Bytes channel. On a previous video, we ran some data here with 100 rows and 3 columns representing 3 features, and we had like some classes as well, class 0 and class 1. We looked at the shape and we managed to plot a 3D plot using Matplotlib, but it was very basic. It wasn't really interactive and it wasn't really kind of 3D. So on this video today, we will use another Python library that is the Plotly library. And you might need to install it if you don't have it installed already. That is very easy, very simple, just a pip command, pip install Plotly, and you will get it done. And before you use it, you'll have to import Plotly. Today we are going to import plotly.graph underscore objects as Go, and we will need as well the input output if we want to save the file like an HTML file, as we will do on this video today. Alright, cool. So we have the data already. Just as a reminder, we have about 100 rows and 3 columns, and classes is also of 100 rows. So the first thing that we're going to do here, of course, is to define our figure that is with a Go object, with a Plotly object, Plotly figure. In that one, we need to define our data, and the data is expected to be a list. Inside that list, it has to be either scatter plot or a collection of other plots as well. And we only want a scatter plot here today, and that is not just a normal scatter plot, but also a 3D scatter plot. Inside this 3D scatter plot, we need to define the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. So the x-axis is, of course, our data, all rows, and column 0. And we will do the same for y-axis and for z-axis as well. But of course, the difference here is that we have column 1 and column 2. So once we do that, and if we try to run it, nothing really happened. And this is because we haven't really called .show function. So if you run .show, well, it's a little bit not very clean. A lot of lines, connections, and the dots are kind of big. So what we need to do here, we will have to control the markers. So the mode itself has to be markers so that we don't get all these lines. But still we see kind of big dots. I don't like that. So we can also control the markers. And the markers will take a dictionary. That dictionary, you can control the size. Let's do 3 and see if this makes sense. Of course, I'm missing a comma here and maybe something else. Marker, not markers. Yeah, so this size seems like about right enough. As you may have noticed, I can actually zoom in and out and do a lot of other things as well, cool things. But before we do so, there is one last thing that we want to change here, that is the color. Like last time, we changed the color by controlling the C parameter here. Now we have a color parameter that is, of course, going to be classes. And here you go. We have 2 classes, the blue class and the yellow class. We can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can rotate, we can go in, and we can also get all the dimensions for each one of the data points that we have, and we can rotate, we can go back to original, we can move it to the right, to the left, we can take a snapshot, and a lot of other cool things that you can explore as well. And one thing that we can do as well here is we can export it as an HTML file that will not require any Python environment, so anybody with any computer can open the HTML file and interact with it. So let's see how we can do that. Let's define a file name. Let's call it figure.html, and we will use the input output that we imported earlier on here we will write to HTML. We write the figure that we've just plotted, and we will use the file name. Once we do that, we have a file here, figure, and I will go where the file is at, and I open that file, and here you go. I have the file, I'm interacting with the file, and it's really very cool. I can do the exact same thing that I was able to do on VS Code. I can do rotations and all other things as well. And these are the kind of things that you can actually share with stakeholders to play with the data and maybe figure out if there's any sort of patterns that you haven't noticed. I hope you liked this video today. Stay tuned for the next one.